like, wait a minute, I'm defensive all the time. Why is that a bad thing?
In my head.
I really did cut a lot of my hair, didn't I? I cut my own hair. So I just went a little voracious yesterday when I did it because it was getting so long and I just wanted that like non-heavy hair feeling, so it is what it is. I kind of like it short. Hello, if you're new here, I do videos on mental health and I kind of go for walks at night. So what I've been doing regularly. You'll also see I do a little news thing every Monday, but I just talk about mental health. So I wanted to give a shout out to Jordy. I hope I said that correctly in the way that you would say it, Jordy. Jordy. And that is my first Patreon patron, so thank you. Hello. He has a channel here on YouTube if you want to check it out. He does his own original pop songs, but he also does cover songs, and hopefully he's going to continue doing this vlogging thing because he started doing a little bit. I would like to see more, so I will link to his channel below. You can also search for him if you go for King George Jordy, which is Jordi. You'll find him that way. He's got like a little like rainbow across his face, which is kind of cool. So thank you, Jordy, for being a Patreon patron. For people who don't know, Patreon is a way to support me financially in doing what I do here, and it is a way you can get some extras. I've been putting up a couple of bloopers here and there on there, just a little behind the scenes peek, but really it's just if you like what I'm doing and you want to support me, I would greatly appreciate it. For those that cannot give anything or who just don't want to, that's okay too. I appreciate you watching. That is my main thing here, is just keeping up the discussion around mental health issues, and I just enjoy it, so I thank you for being a part of it, whoever's out there. Today, or tonight I should say, I want to talk a little bit further on this topic of love in a new way. I want to talk about what breaks relationships apart, and I found it really interesting when I was reading about it last year, as my more than last year, a year and a half ago, when my relationship was falling apart and I was trying to figure out what to do to save it. So I did not manage to save it, which I will get into another time, I guess, but still the reasons why relationships fail is fascinating, and I would like for you to stick in here with me tonight because I think you'll learn something. Okay, lighting's not too bad here, right? I always have this like yellow face in all these videos. It's kind of annoying. But it is what it is. I can't really control it, so radical acceptance, right? So I wanted to talk about what makes relationship fails, and specifically I'm talking from some research that a man named John Gottman did, and it's a little controversial because it's not stuff that has necessarily held up when it comes to his critics. His critics have said, you know, it's not necessarily, your findings are not necessarily true, they're not necessarily what they're supposed to be. So, okay, so I'm getting distracted. There's a lot going on around me. And I'm kind of standing in the middle of nowhere, looking like a weirdo, holding my phone out in the dark, as usual. I just need to get used to this. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to it, but we'll try. Alright, back to the topic. So it's a little controversial because his research methods are suspect, I guess is what we'll put it at. But I still think what he found is very valid. It just kind of makes sense to me. So with that caveat that it may not be sound research-wise, it doesn't make it false. It just means they don't have the research to back it up. It's very interesting. So what he did was he took couples and he put them into like a real-world environment. So they lived in like a condo on his in his research place. I forget what they called it, but he had like a little villa, I guess, of these couples. And what he would do, he did this with hundreds of couples. He would hook them up to biometric feedback things. So he would measure like how much they were sweating, how fast their heart was racing, how their breathing was. And he gathered data and he analyzed like, okay, so what's going on here when these couples are relating to each other? What's going on when they get into fights? Like, and which couples wind up getting divorced? Which ones break up and which ones stay together? And what are the patterns here? So I'm going to talk about his results and how they may apply to you in your own relationships. This is pretty good lighting. I feel like I came here the other day and it wasn't so great. Anyway, it's good now. So, okay, so what did he discover? What did John Gottman discover when he did these tests? Well, he discovered a lot of things, actually. One of them was that when you have what he called a harsh startup, I believe, I may have that wrong, but when you start an argument and it's got this like tone of nastiness, criticism, blame, all of those kinds of like harsh things, then you are likely to wind up having a terrible argument. My glasses are fogging up like crazy because of the rain that we've been having around here. Maybe I should take them off. Let's see. How do I look? So he found that when you have that harsh startup, you make it really, really difficult to have a good argument, and basically you damage your relationship is what happens. If you are somebody who typically approaches your partner in a relationship with an attitude, with blame, with some kind of angry tone in your voice, you're likely to not have a productive argument and you're likely to damage your relationship. So what do you do as an alternative? You can ask questions about what's going on. You can say, I have something that's bothering me, can we talk about it? Like, you can do it in a very calm way without accusing the other person of doing something wrong, without getting angry in your voice. Like, you don't have to approach that person in that moment when you're angry. You can always wait and approach them later. So that is one key thing that he discovered. I'm going to keep walking. I'm trying to keep these short so that they're more interesting. I know when I go on and on and on, sometimes it's a little bit much because I do the editing, and when I do the editing, I'm like, okay, this is a bit much, but I don't want to cut it out because it's good stuff. So I'm going to break it here, and I'm going to continue walking, and hopefully it'll keep your interest. Okay, so here I am again, and I am not directly in front of somebody's yard, but somebody came out of their house and looked at me, and it was very uncomfortable because I was pointing the camera basically at them. I hate this suburb. And yet I'm staying here anyway to do a video, so pushing through, I guess. So let's see, I actually have a lot to say on this topic, and I am nearing the end of my walk, so this may have to be like a two-parter or something, but harsh startups will harm your relationship, and let's see how much I can get to in a short period of time. So he also found that if you do any of what he calls the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is such a great name for it, these are things that are destined to kill your relationship. So these are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. And notably, stonewalling is the #1 relationship killer. So I'll quickly go over what each of those are if you'd like to learn more. There is a book where I'm getting all this from. It's called The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. It's an excellent book. It goes into much more detail than I can go into here. Okay, so criticism, we all kind of know what criticism is. It's when you kind of like harshly judge somebody. It's not speaking up and saying like, I don't like this and I want you to change this. Criticism is just like, you're an idiot, why do you do these kinds of things? So we know what that is. We know what criticism is. We kind of know it's bad. Don't do it. What else? Contempt is when you look down on somebody. Contempt's pretty nasty. So contempt could be like, well, I expect you to do these things because that's your position in this relationship. Or what else could be contempt? Just the way you treat somebody, you know, like not looking them in the eye, things like that could be contempt. Defensiveness is the one that surprised me, and I had a hard time wrapping my head around it because I was like, wait a minute, I'm defensive all the time. Why is that a bad thing? Why shouldn't I defend myself? But defensiveness is bad because what you're essentially saying when you are always defensive is that the other person is to blame. Like, it's not my fault. I didn't do this. Why are you blaming me? Why are you? So the implicated message is, well, it's your fault. It's you're the reason why this is happening. So instead of being defensive, what we can do is to say, well, I hear that you're upset. I see this is bothering you. I understand this is bothering you. If there's something that I've done, I apologize. I'm sorry. If there's something I could do differently, can you let me know what that is so that I can help you? So that would be the opposite of defensiveness. And the last one, stonewalling, is the worst of all. So if stonewalling is present in your relationship, not a good sign, and it needs to be fixed. And I want to make a little caveat here because I mentioned that I was not able to save my relationship. Stonewalling was present often in my relationship, and it's two to tango in a relationship. So you could get all four of these right, but if the other person is not willing to budge on any of them, then it's not going to happen. So stonewalling is what we kind of think of as a silent treatment. It's just not acknowledging somebody, ignoring them, totally not listening to their requests, not caring about them. That's stonewalling. Not good. So those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And there was one little last thing I wanted to get to, so I'm going to see if I can find one more place to talk, and then I will wrap this up. Thank you for bearing with me here. Okay, I'm in the shadows again, somewhere I'm not supposed to be. It's kind of my only option here. So the last thing that I wanted to get to briefly when it comes to John Gottman's stuff, my glasses are fogging again, is that he had this concept of bids in relationships. Not bids, excuse me. Bids are something that he has a concept for, which maybe we'll talk about another time, but he has this concept of repairs. I forget exactly what he called it, but something along the lines of repairs. And people who are in healthy relationships do these repairing behaviors. So when they get into an argument, like if things seem like they're getting negative and more negative and more negative, they try to repair. And sometimes it's obvious. It's like, I'm sorry, how can I help you? What can I do for you? But sometimes it's more subtle, like trying to laugh about it, or trying to like look at somebody in a loving way, or put your arm on their shoulder in a way that says like, I hear you, I understand you. These are all forms of repairing or attempting to repair. And the thing with repairs is that both people have to get it. So it's one of those intricate things where not everyone's going to have it correct, and you're not always going to get it right 100% of the time. But the healthy couples recognize, okay, this person does hear me. They're trying. You know, they put their hand on their shoulder not to intimidate me, but because they care. And these repairing behaviors de-escalate the situation, so you're not getting so angry. So I mentioned he hooked people up to see like their heart rates, their sweating and everything, and part of the reason for doing that is something that I learned when dealing with my own PTSD, which is that when you get more and more aroused, as they call it, you can kick into fight or flight. And once you kick into fight or flight, that system is hard to calm down. So if you can calm yourself down before it gets to that angry, I'm going to kill you thing, or that I need to get out of here, this is too overwhelming thing, which is basically what fight or flight is. If you can calm your system down and not get aroused to that level, then you can handle the situation with rational thought and get through the argument. So these repairing behaviors help to calm you down and de-escalate things, and they're very important when it comes to healthy relationships. So now that I've gone over everything, think about yourself, whether you're in a relationship now or you have a past relationship that you're thinking about as I talk about all of this. Let me know, which of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse do you do the most often? Did you know that you did it? Because a lot of times we don't realize we're doing these things. Maybe you have an example to share. Let me know, let the community know, because everybody here gains from hearing each other talk, and I love talking with you down in the comments. If you are new here, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon that you'll see somewhere around here. It's a little bell and it lets you know when I do videos if you're interested. If you're not, that's also okay, but I would love to have you subscribe and to continue these discussions with me around mental health.